Thank you. Sorry. I have my first question. I feel like I
breathe deeply and speak right up.
I feel like I choose struggle. Like I want to break through something, so I repeat this, feeling the weakness, and then choosing to try to break through, and it makes everything so much more difficult.
Well, it does, but it's not unreasonable. In other words, have you ever tried to get the lid off a bottle? Some of them, Esther thinks they're welded on. Sometimes you got to put something into it, but when you put it into it with the knowing that you can get the lid off the bottle. Can you feel a slight distinction there? It's all right to offer effort, and it's all right to focus, and it's all right to dig in. Esther does a process every single day that she calls priming the pump, because she's heard us say for a long, long time that if you're going to do something, make a decision that you're going to do it, and then line up with your decision. If you decide you're going to do it, and then you don't line up with your decision, that's what struggle feels like. You've made a decision, but you're not lined up with it. So you don't have the resources of source helping you. So you feel depleted. But when you make a decision and line up with it, so Esther plays this game because there are some things she really likes to do, and those things are easy to do. No problem at all moving in the direction of those things that she really likes to do. But the things that she doesn't like to do so much that need to be done, there's resistance in them. And so she's got two choices. Don't do them, but they need to be done. Don't do them, but the children must eat. Don't do them. Don't do them. You have two choices. Don't do it, or find a way to line up with it. And so we think that's part of what you're talking about. Find a way to line up with it, and it'll take the struggle right out of it. Now we're going to get into one of those weird things, but after Jerry made his transition, Esther was putting a heavy suitcase in the back of the car. And she was feeling really sorry for herself because it was not daylight yet. She was lifting a very heavy suitcase into the back of the car. And she was thinking, I wish Jerry were here to help me. And then she thought, wait a minute. I was the one that usually loaded the suitcases into the back of the car anyway. I was doing that while he was turning off lights and so forth. Some things you just make up struggle without needing to. And then one day after that, she was loading a very heavy suitcase into the back of the car, and she said, hey, Jerry, give me a hand. And he did. With his clarity and his knowledge of physics and his knowledge of the way the muscles and tendons work in her body. In other words, by asking him to help her and her expectation that he would, her ability to do that was far different. It's like the story is a little different than this, but it has some of the same premise of the mother who doesn't know how strong she is until something falls on her child and she picks it up off of them. Well, this is different than that because Esther wasn't operating from any negative place, but she was operating from strong, clear intention, which is what makes most people need some struggle before they operate. Most people seem to need motivation before they're able to do it. But motivation is overcoming resistance, where inspiration is utilizing that energy that creates worlds. And so you might say to yourself, I've been struggling in a sort of way to motivate myself, where what I really intend to do is tap into inspiration and utilize that extra power and clarity. We're going to give you some really strong statements here. You have so much non-physical assistant that you do not allow yourself to experience. Because, number one, it's just plain weird. Number two, most people don't understand it in the way that you do. But remember, once you get it, it's easy. Once you understand that source energy is aware of you, once you understand that your intentions are well known, once you understand that things have been lined up, and once you stop being the uncooperative component and you start being the cooperative component, then the struggle is over for you. Helpful?
Yes, yes.
We've been saying for a while, and we're going to take a segment of refreshment here. We've been saying for a while that the creative process is step one, ask, and life helps you to do that. And step two is answer, and source will answer right away. That's that vortex thing that we talk about all the time. And step three is then you allowing what you're asking for, so you let it in. Step three is that. Step four is getting good at that. It's kind of a mastery of that. That's what step four is, being really good at it. We would call you there. We think you've got this, and we think you apply it mostly. And step five is looking at something that makes you feel some negative emotion for a minute, and then catching yourself and holding your own positive tone anyway. Step five is negative emotion being seen by you as a helpful thing, not a warning bell or not a sign that something has gone wrong, but as guidance that you know what to do. And when you get there, then the complaining ones don't bother you at all, because you've been there yourself and you understand it and you want them to feel better. But this might not be the path of least resistance where you could possibly say anything that would help them feel better. In fact, you're almost in the place that whether you say something or not, they're not going to feel better. And maybe if you say something, they're going to take it wrong. And so try this. As you're on your way to work, thinking about being there, think about entering the field, the segment where the field of attraction is operating. And think of yourself as presenting yourself as someone who likes life and likes them too, no matter what. I like these guys. I want to present myself in that way. I like you, and you get to choose what you're doing, and I won't hold any of it against you. I like you. And watch what happens when you present yourself to the field of attraction feeling like that. If your marbles don't match, they won't engage with you. And if you're not pushing against them, they won't engage with you. If you're on a different vibrational wavelength, they won't engage with you. And when you like them, see, they're not liking themselves. That's why they're behaving like that. But when you like them, they won't engage with you. They say, hey, don't you have anything to say to me? They, yeah. I'm just thinking how much I like you. And they'll say, yeah.
I appreciate it very much.
Really good. Good time for a segment of refreshment.